Good evening and welcome to Premier League Live on the first of 3 nights of Premier League action from LFS. 10 full roster of fixtures over the next 3 nights on match week 31 of the season, 5 of them in action tonight. A blockbuster of Premier League football for you all the way through until around 10:15 this evening. 3 games tomorrow and then 2 games to round us off on Thursday night as well. 4 of tonight's 5 games already in action, as you can see on your screen. Those top 4 fixtures all underway. Newcastle and Everton and Nottingham Forest Fulham are both 7:30 kickoffs, and Bournemouth Crystal Palace and Burnley Wolves are 7:45 kickoff. So half an hour gone in the first 2 games and 15 minutes or so gone in those other 2 games for you. At the moment, Newcastle are leading Everton by that 1-0. That goal coming from Alexander Isak. Scored 5 goals, 5 in a row at St James's Park. Now, the first player to do that since 2011. Nottingham Forest, what a start they've had against Fulham. Fulham again losing fairly convincingly very early on after their defeat or their comeback against Sheffield United when they were 3-1 down in that game, 2-0 at one point. They are now again down really early, this time against Nottingham Forest. 2 goals from Forest in quick succession. The first from Callum Hudson-Odoi and the second from Chris Wood gives Forest a 2-goal lead at the City Ground. And it is still goalless for those 7:45 kickoffs. Bournemouth Crystal Palace and Burnley against Wolves for you. So all the action tonight, we will keep you up to date with everything that happens around all 5 grounds. We'll have live commentary from the London Stadium. I'll be commentating on West Ham against Tottenham, that London derby, with both sides in the chase for Europe. Tottenham in the chase for Champions League football, West Ham in the chase for any sort of European football under David Moyes once again after their wonderful trophy haul last season in the Europa Conference League, and they will be hoping for more. They're in the quarterfinals of the Europa League this season. They want to get towards the final there, and they might be wanting more European football next season. For the 3rd successive season under David Moyes would be a great achievement for West Ham United. We will see what those 2 teams have to offer, and we'll have team news for you from that one fairly shortly. For you indeed. But at the moment we are all keeping an eye on those 4 games for you that kicked off a bit earlier than us we are kicking off this evening. West Ham against Spurs is an 8:15 kickoff, so around about 12 minutes away until kickoff at the London Stadium for you tonight. Talking about big kind of games, big results at the moment. Huge it would be if Forest can hold on and win this evening against Fulham. Forest, if they win this evening, that will take them out of the relegation zone. They will be and a good few points as well, 3 points clear of 18th place Luton. Of course, Luton play tomorrow night. They head to Arsenal tomorrow evening at 7:30 to the Emirates. Tough game for Luton, but this will be a huge result for Nottingham Forest if they can hold on and win against Fulham, a Fulham side who have really got into not great run of form recently. Fulham, that going behind to Sheffield United at the weekend quite considerably, a Sheffield United side who are fighting for their lives themselves, but scored 3 goals in the space of around 12 minutes against Fulham at the Bramall Lane at the weekend. Fulham did score in between one of those. It was 3-1 at that point. But to the same factor, to go that far down against a side who had scored minimal amounts of goals this season. I mean, we look at Sheffield United's goal tally. It's actually quite abysmal. 27 goals in 29 games. That would have been 24 goals and 28 games before the weekend's fixture, which is it's less than 1 goal a game, which is why they are where they are. But of course, 77 goals conceded is awful. An awful record for Sheffield United, and they're well on course to beat the Premier League record of most goals conceded in a single season. That's 89 goals in a single 38-game season, so they're only 12 goals away from that, and still 9 games to go. Fulham in mid-table at the moment. They've Again, they could have had an outside push at Europe, but if they want to lose this one, they will find themselves just a point off Chelsea. But Chelsea will have 2 games in hand and a game still to play this week against Manchester United on Thursday, so they will be ahead of them by a point, but they'll have loads of games in hand. Wolves currently playing at the moment, Brighton ahead of them, so Fulham could see their hopes of maybe a European spot curtailed if they lose this evening. At the moment, they did make a couple of changes there. 3 changes Fulham made after going 2-0 down. Marco Silva not messing around. Tom Kearney, Adama Traore and Willian all coming on, replacing Sasa Lukic, Alex Iwobi and Harry Wilson. So a triple change in the first half after 33 minutes for Marco Silva as his side 2-0 down, and they've made a triple change to try and change the outcome of that game and the way they're playing, because Forest have played some lovely stuff early on, absolutely wonderful stuff for Nuno Espirito Santo's side at the moment. To St James's Park up to the northeast, where Newcastle, they're on the chase for Europe as well. They win this evening, they will go above West Ham momentarily. Of course, West Ham playing Spurs at 8:15. They will go above West Ham momentarily by 2 points. They will be 2 points behind Manchester United, but of course Manchester United still have to play, so that could be a gap further, but it would put Newcastle into 7th for the moment, ahead of those teams below them. In and around them, they would swap places with West Ham as it stands with that 1-goal lead, Alexander Isak. Everton, doldrums indeed, and they look to be really threatened by relegation. They're outside of the relegation zone and still 3 points clear, but that lead, that kind of advantage that they have on the opposition teams above them or below them, is dwindling away after their last minute defeat at the weekend against Bournemouth with Seamus Coleman own goal in the 90th minute, dropping Everton to a defeat instead of what a draw it would have been. Away from home would have been a huge point, but they fell to defeat, and at the moment tonight they're falling to defeat again, it seems, as it stands, but still a long way to go in that one. The only 42nd goal they've conceded this season. That is, they have the best defensive record of any team outside of the top 6 in the Premier League. That is incredible. Only 5 teams in the Premier League have conceded less goals than Everton this season, and they are Manchester United, Aston Villa, Man City, Arsenal and Liverpool are the 5 teams that have conceded the same or less goals than Everton this season. It's their fact that they can't score goals is Everton's problem. 30 goals scored this season, which is one of the lowest in the Premier League. Only 2 teams have conceded, only 1 team, has scored less than that, and that is Sheffield United on 27. Burnley have just 1 more on 31. So their relegation form in terms of goals scored, but what's keeping them out is their defence and their ability to grind out results and draws out of games. But of course they have had their points deducted as well. 6 points deducted as well. If they add those 6 points on, they would be a bit clearer. They wouldn't be completely out of the mix though. They would still be only 2 places pushed up, probably above Crystal Palace, which isn't a big gap. Speaking of Crystal Palace, they're away to Bournemouth tonight, so Everton were there at the weekend, and Crystal Palace are now the visitors in midweek. Crystal Palace, of course, were in action at the weekend as well. They're 1-1 draw away at Nottingham Forest. Forest felt that they were a bit hard done by. They should have got more out of that result, but a good point nonetheless for the relegation battler Nottingham Forest. Crystal Palace trying to keep themselves out of that relegation battle as much as they can. They're in 14th at the moment, 9 points clear of Luton in 18th, but of course that is as it stands. They will be 8 points clear if they lose tonight, and Luton still to play. Very little to talk about from that game. 50-50 possession, and as you can see, goalless at the moment. Not a shot on target as of yet in that game. And Burnley Wolves as well is in action at Turf Moor this evening, and again the same there, no shots on target. Only 3 shots in the game, 2 for Burnley, 1 for Wolves, and the possession is around about 50-50, so lacking any creating chances in that game either at Turf Moor. All 4 games we will keep you up to date with right throughout the evening, alongside the commentary of West Ham against Tottenham, and of course with this game kicking off a half an hour at least ahead of everyone else, we will have the full-time scores from all of the 4 earlier games before we leave you tonight, as well as the final whistle from West Ham against Tottenham. Looking ahead to tomorrow night and Thursday night, 5 more games for you over the next 2 nights. Arsenal take on Luton at 7:30 tomorrow from the Emirates. We'll be keeping an eye on that one, as well as Brentford against Brighton. As well, a good fixture there at the G-Tech Community Stadium. Brighton after their narrow defeat to Liverpool at the weekend. Brentford, of course, looking to really get themselves away from that relegation battle at the moment. They are still hanging in and around there, but they want to get themselves away after their 1-1 draw to Manchester United. They left at the 99th minute to score against United at the weekend, but they did get that draw nonetheless. They play Brighton tomorrow. That's also a 7:30 kickoff. And then at 8:15 tomorrow night, the big one, Manchester City hosting Aston Villa. Two sides inside the top 4 as it stands. 3rd and 4th face each other at the Etihad tomorrow. City can retake top spots if they win tomorrow against Liverpool. If they can score quite a number of goals, if they win by 6 goals or more against Villa, that's a long way to go. But if not, they will find themselves only 2nd City tomorrow. Aston Villa, on the other hand, well, they can give themselves a bit of breathing room. Of course, Spurs playing tonight can overtake them. If Spurs win by a 2 or more goals this evening, Spurs will go above Aston Villa in the table, but Villa will look to solidify their top 4 place if they can win tomorrow night. And if Spurs drop points tonight, indeed, who knows? That is tomorrow. And then 2 games on Thursday. Liverpool against Sheffield United. Liverpool leading the way at the moment. They place top against bottom at Anfield on Thursday at 7:30 for a classic Premier League fixture on Thursday night. Chelsea against Manchester United at 8:15. Right, kick-off from the London Stadium is on the way in just a moment as West Ham take on Tottenham. Let's get the team news for you then for tonight's game. And Lucas Fabianski is the only change to West Ham's starting 11 after their defeat against Newcastle at the weekend. That's an enforced change, with Alphonse Areola out injured. A back 4 of Vladimir Sofal, Konstantinos Mavropanos, Kurt Zouma the captain, and Emerson in a back 4. Souček, Ward-Prowse and Paquetá in midfield, with Kudus, Bowen and Antonio in attack. For Spurs, Ange Postecoglou keeps a fairly similar side to the side that came back against Luton at the weekend. At home, they have Guillermo Vicario continues in goal, of course. The very usual back 4 of Pedro Porro, Christian Romero, Mickey van der Ven and Destiny Udogie in defence. Rodrigo Bentancur and Yves Bissouma in midfield. Ahead of them, James Maddison. And a front 3 of Brennan Johnson, Timo Werner and Heung-min Son leads the line and captains Tottenham tonight. Both benches look as follows: Anang, Johnson, Ogbonna, Cresswell, Phillips, Earthy, Ings, Cornet and Mubama for the West Ham bench. And for the bench for Ange Postecoglou's side, Austin, Royal, Davies, Dragoshin, Sarr, Lo Celso, Kulusevski, Højbjerg and Richarlison make up the bench for Spurs. Kick-off from the London Stadium and a London derby is on the way next.
Catch me if I fall.
Welcome back to Premier League Live on this Tuesday night in our midweek madness of Premier League football. 3 games over the next 3 nights for you, including all 10 fixtures, updates from all of the games, but 3 live commentaries over the next 3 nights for you. 5 games tonight, 4 underway already, and we're going to get underway in just a moment at the London Stadium between West Ham and Spurs in this London derby. These two have European hopes for this season and for next season. Want to get European football. Spurs want to get Champions League on their shirts again. That badge, that huge competition back at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It's been swapped with another North London club for this season, and they'll want to get back in the competition next season. Spurs, West Ham well, they'll want to get a third successive season in Europe under David Moyes under their belts this season if they can finish inside the top 7 or top 8. We're underway between West Ham and Spurs. West Ham in the claret and blue home kits, Spurs in all white this evening. Our referee this evening is John Brooks and VAR is Andy Madley. And again, VAR always a hot topic in the Premier League, as it has been the whole season, and it will continue to be for, it seems like, eternity in the Premier League. But hopefully tonight we might have a quiet night of pure football at the London Stadium. The rain is coming down, which is another added factor to tonight's game. Not that it's too uncommon, but it will add an extra factor to the game, an extra difficulty to this game. Spurs, of course, will be looking to dominate the ball. West Ham will go for that very well kind of structured counter-attacking approach that they have under David Moyes, and something they're not ashamed of. But David Moyes did say they needed to get enough of the ball to play their football. He said there was a lot of positives from the weekend's game, despite going to the St James's Park and ended up losing from a 3-1 lead. But he said there's a lot of positives, and you can see that in the lineup. Only one change, and that's the enforced one. The goalkeeper, Areola, coming out for Fabianski, who's injured, or for Fabianski coming in for Areola, who's injured. But no outfield changes, which shows the confidence that David Moyes has in these outfield players, and the fact that he was surely happy with a lot of what they did, but of course obviously not happy with losing from a 2-goal lead at the weekend. But not in the thoughts of the West Ham players tonight. Here's Jared Bowen down the right hand side, blocked off well by James Maddison. Tries to get Spurs forward, but Son intercepted in the middle by Soucek, who gets the ball back for West Ham United. Ward-Prowse to Kudus. He has to go backwards towards Kurt Zouma, who goes back to Fabianski. Fires it long out to Sofal, who heads it forward for Bowen. Bowen brings it down, looking for the flick on. Fabianski makes a nice run. Sofal makes a nice run, and Antonio just dispossessed there again as he tried to receive the ball. And now here's Timo Werner for Spurs. Heavy touch, gives it away to Paquetá. One thing West Ham have, Paquetá just winning the free kick there. One thing West Ham have is a lot of flair players. You know, all the talk about when David Moyes made these signings of the attacking players, of how on David Moyes like it was to have a lot of flair players in his team. Considering what he had at Everton those times, it was more of a dogged team, a very physical, hard-working side rather than those flair players. But that's good from Kudus, who does work hard and wins the ball back off Porro. Looking for the cross, it falls to Bowen. Oh, and he couldn't find the finish on it. Almost from West Ham. Good move down the left-hand side. Really hard work from Mohamed Kudus. Beats it past Pedro Porro. Looking for the cross in, and it just misses. Mikel Antonio was stretching back for it. It falls to Bowen, and he does get a touch on it, but the touch takes it completely away from him and runs behind for the goal kick. But nice idea from West Ham, and good high pressing from Mohamed Kudus to win the ball back and to get West Ham into a good position. That's a threat that they can pose pressing wise. Spurs need to be wary of playing out from the back. That if they are going to play out from the back, they need to move it quickly and always have an out ball, and can't dilly-dally on the ball, because West Ham will be able to snatch it away from you with those quality players up front. Speaking of quality players up front, Forest are having a real night of it at the City Ground. An incredible night for Nottingham Forest. They've got another goal just before half-time. They lead by 3-0. Tell you about it in a moment. Here's Spurs! They've scored! Just as I was talking about Forest scoring, Tottenham break on West Ham and find the opening goal inside 5 minutes. Brennan Johnson, the goal scorer. Timo Werner set it up from the cross from the left-hand side. And David Moyes is kind of shell-shocked, just staring at the floor. in disbelief. Well, just see, there was a bit of uncertainty of whether it was offside or not, but see this again. Madison just plays it out to Werner. Werner looking, waiting for the cutback. No, he doesn't find the cutback, just squares it right across, and Brennan Johnson makes the run across the West Ham defenders. He's not offside. I think he's not ahead of the ball, Brennan Johnson. And a really nice cross. Good to adjust from Brennan Johnson. And Spurs put themselves ahead. Just after West Ham had a good chance themselves at the other end. And now Spurs have taken the lead. West Ham 0, Tottenham 1. And it's Brennan Johnson. And that's why he's in the side, Brennan Johnson. Made an impact at the weekend against Luton. In that comeback win. Coming on. Helping out Spurs at the weekend. And he's more help here tonight to give them an early lead inside 5 minutes. But West Ham need a response. Good challenge by Ward-Prowse. As the cross comes in, brought down by Sofal on the right-hand side. Werner battling with him. And Sofal felt that was a corner, and does get West Ham a corner, to the disagreement and of Timo Werner, who felt that it didn't touch him, but it did. And it will be a corner to West Ham United. Just to confirm then for you, Forest did get another goal before half-time. They lead by 3-0 now against Fulham. Fulham a bit bad. Morgan Gibbs-White with the goal to give Forest a 3-goal lead. And a goal to tell you about at Turf Moor, but we'll tell you about that in a second after this corner. Bowen, left-footed delivery from the right-hand side. Palmed away, now fully cleared, and Kudus there. Snats took a deflection, another West Ham corner. Not great goalkeeping from Vicario. Came flapping out for it. Got a hand to it, but palmed it straight back into the mix of all the bodies in there. And Kudus with a left-footed shot. Deflected up and behind for the corner. Another corner. Bowen with delivery again this time. Away by Bentancur. As West Ham look to recycle the ball. Kudus. Antonio. Down the left-hand side. Emerson. Kudus looking for the cross. Hits it out for a throw-in. So goal, as I said, at Turf Moor. And this could be a huge goal in the relegation fight. Burnley have taken the lead against Wolverhampton Wanderers at home. Burnley, an awful home record this season. Only 2 wins at home. Only Sheffield United had picked up more... they had the worst home defence. Home record this season. Only 2 wins, 2 draws, 8 points from their 15 previous home games, but they have got on the score sheet to lead Wolverhampton Wanderers. Jakob Brun-Larsen with the goal to give Burnley the 1-0 lead there. So there you go. And Wolves, who themselves, they're pretty comfortable in mid-table at the moment, but will be wanting a bit more out of their performance tonight, losing this evening by a goal to 0. It's still 0-0 between Bournemouth and Palace. Half-time, by the way, between Newcastle and Everton, and Forest Fulham. It is 1-0 Newcastle and 3-0 Forest in those games. Right, Spurs back in possession. Here's Bentancur. Madison. Down the left-hand side of Werner. Looking for the return ball to Madison, but couldn't find him as Spurs hound for the ball back. Here's the Dougie. Son. Wide now for Porro with his shots. Just wide by Pedro Porro. But not too far away. He's already scored a screamer this season for Spurs. He almost had another goal to add to that list. To find the bottom corner, but just the wrong side of the post. And dragged wide for a goal kick to West Ham United. Well, Ange Postecoglou, I'm sure, would be happy with how his side have started. Of course, with that lead, but also the fact that they are away from home, and West Ham aside, looking to bounce back from results. Their result at the weekend, an invigorated West Ham side, but so far, Spurs have done well to deny them those opportunities, and click cut ones, and they've taken the lead, which would give them major confidence. And as it stands, they would be just behind fourth placed Villa on goal difference. One more goal for Spurs and they will find themselves inside the top four. They take a 2-goal lead, or they win by 2 goals tonight, they will be in the top four before Aston Villa head to Manchester City tomorrow. Right, 10.5 minutes gone. West Ham 0, Spurs 1. As that throw in from a doggy, intercepted by Antonio. Plays it back to Zuma. Now to Kudus. Zuma. Down the left-hand side to Emerson. Plays it forward for Ward-Prowse, but he's closed down by Christian Romero, who clears it away for Tottenham. Bentancur. Nice work from Bissouma. Finds the run of Maddison. Maddison. Down the right-hand side to Heung-min Son. Here is Son. Back to try and find Maddison, but good track in there from Lucas Paquetá. Denies that return ball and tries to get West Ham out of trouble as Kudus has to battle and does keep the ball away from Pedro Porro. And that will run out for a West Ham throw-in. Good battle in this game so far. Despite Spurs' lead, West Ham are still battling, of course. Of course, David Moyes. I mean, what will be going through his head? I mean, as I said, when Spurs scored, he was kind of shell-shocked. He was just blank-faced, standing on the sidelines, I think, in disbelief at how easily Spurs had just carved West Ham open. How easily Spurs had found that opening goal, and I mean, he's still standing there in kind of disbelief. It's unusual for David Moyes to be quiet on the sidelines, but so far he's been not very vocal. You know, his side know what they need to do. I'm sure he will know that his side need to up their efforts so far as Spurs come forward again and a hopeful ball into the box. Sofal there to get it away from Werner, but again good press by Adogi, linking up with Werner. Adogi. Bentancur. Now Werner down the left hand side. Infield to Maddison. Maddison trying to work it into the box. Cuts it back for Son. Son on the edge. Son trying to curl it, but straight into the hands of Lukasz Fabianski there. But again, it's really nice football from Spurs. Just pressing West Ham high and this intricate football. Nice 1-2 intricate plays on the edge of the box, in and around the 18-yard boxes. Getting them the better of West Ham at the moment and finding those pockets of space. Really crucial. You have those types of players to open up a deep defence. The likes of what West Ham will play it when they're out of possession. Spurs have the key to unlock that type of defence. With those likes of players of Maddison and Werner and even Johnson and Son can carve open defences. So West Ham try and get on the front foot. Soucek taken down by Maddison. The referee's played advantage. The ball into the box. Just ahead of Jared Bowen, but again into the hands of the Spurs keeper. But a good move by West Ham there. Have to say, it's been one of those games where at the moment there aren't really a few moments to breathe. It is quite an energetic, high-tempo start to this game. That's both teams trying to apply that. Bentancur finds Adogi. Now Werner. Down the left-hand side. Werner looking for the cross again. Blocked away by West Ham, and they can try and play out of their own box here, the Hammers. Soucek with the long ball. Again, just looks so easy for Spurs when they're coming, kind of playing that forward. The really nice attacking football. It's always a forward pass. There's always a free man. There's always space. Really, really good football by Spurs. Again. Sofal looking for the ball forward to Antonio, and Antonio in the battle. Has the last touch, which gives Spurs a throw in. Spurs, they're an indifferent, a topsy-turvy record against West Ham. They lost the reverse fixture this season by 2-1 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. West Ham with a second half comeback through Bowen and Ward-Prowse. Shocking Spurs at home back in early December. Spurs' last win on this ground came back in November of 2019 on a 3-2 win. Since then, they have fallen to defeat twice and drawn once in those previous 3 meetings at the London Stadium with West Ham. So not a great record in East London against the Hammers. Referee there pulling this back for a Spurs free kick. So the Hammers have won on 2 of those occasions, won by just the 1 goal against Spurs. High scoring games, good, very competitive games between West Ham and Spurs over recent seasons. The last time that they kind of had there was a clear, obvious, massive victory for either one of these sides, we're talking quite a long time ago, probably 4-1 when Spurs beat West Ham at White Hart Lane back in November 2015. That's how long ago. Probably a very uncompetitive game between these 2 sides was, because they're all very close games, very hard fought games. Spurs take this free kick. Madison with the delivery, away by Paquetá, and now Kudus trying to get them on the break, but Spurs getting away with it only for the moment as West Ham again try and force the counter, but bodies back for Spurs deny them as Werner tries to get them forward and wins the throw-in. We thought we'd just find the first goal in the game at the the Vitality Stadium on the south coast in added time of the first half, but that goal has been ruled out. Crystal Palace had thought they'd taken the lead, but VAR has rectified the scoreline back to go 0-0 to 0-0. Berry Eze thought he'd taken the lead for Crystal Palace, but nothing doing there. Still goalless at the Vitality. There has been a goal though in the game, we believe, at Turf Moor. We'll wait on confirmation of that. We feel there's been a goal there. We'll tell you about that in just a second, once we get the full details of that one. That's also in added time in the first half, so that could be a crucial goal. We do have that confirmation now, and the goal has gone the way of Wolves. So kind of Burnley's lead didn't last very long, didn't even last to half time. Wolves have levelled themselves. Ryan Ait-Nouri with the equaliser to get Wolves back on level terms. 1-1. Corner here for West Ham. Ball down the right hand side from Bowen. Put out of play by Mickey van de Ven. Will be a corner to West Ham. A lot of height in there for the Hammers. Their 3rd corner of the game. Spurs yet to get their first corner. Bowen again with that delivery from the right, flicked on and in. Kurt Zouma, the captain, to get them back on level terms. Kurt Zouma, height indeed from West Ham in that box, and a commanding body of Kurt Zouma, and the header finds the back of the Spurs nets, and that gets West Ham back even with Spurs, and David Moyes getting his side back again. Lovely delivery from Bowen, puts it right into the mix in that 6-yard box, and up and jumping was Kurt Zouma ahead of everyone else to find the back of the net, past everyone in there. Vicario had come to the left hand side of the net, and Zouma flicked it on to the far side. West Ham 1, Spurs 1. Told you it was always an even game. 1-1. That's a huge goal for the Hammers to give them that equalising goal. That confidence restored, parity restored at the London Stadium, And their captain, Kurt Zouma, the man to find the back of the nets. West Ham over previous seasons have been real massive threats from set pieces. This season a lot less than usual, or what we've seen in previous seasons, but that is certainly a kind of throwback to what West Ham did a couple of seasons ago when they were absolutely ruthless from corners and one of the best attacking teams from set pieces in the Premier League. They still have that raw quality in the side. 1-1. Half-time in those two 7:45 kickoffs between Bournemouth and Palace and Burnley and Wolves. It is 0-0 between Bournemouth and Crystal Palace, and Burnley 1, Wolves 1 at the break. And the second half's underway in those two earlier games. Newcastle 1, Everton 0, Forest 3, Fulham 0. So those top two back underway for you, and we'll keep you up to date with the second halves from those games. We went the whole Premier League match week without an away win at the weekends, and so far a good number of minutes gone in 5 games tonight, and not a single away team leading in any of those 5 games. Here's James Ward-Prowse. Paquetá with a lifted ball forward, Antonio with a chest, but dropping to the floor, and the free kick goes the way of Spurs. He went to ground there. And he's disputing this one, Mikel Antonio, but we'll see it again. Yeah, it's handball by Antonio there. Wanted the free kick, but ended up going the opposite way with a handball from Mikel Antonio as he went down. So that is a Spurs free kick. Goodness me. Who doesn't love a feast of football in the Premier League? It always offers up drama and excitement in the Premier League. And we have some big results already, big scorelines already in the Premier League tonight, including that huge one at the City Ground with Forest 3-0 up against Fulham. That'll be huge for Forest's hopes of staying in the Premier League this season. If they can see out that 3-0 lead to convert it to 3 points, 3 huge points that would take them 3 points clear of the relegation zone. But still, Fulham know how to come from behind, as they did in Sheffield on Saturday, from 3-1 down to get it back to 3-3 and get a draw out of that game. Forest will be hoping that they don't see the same fate tonight that Sheffield United did at the weekends. We will see. The moment here, another game closely fought between West Ham and Spurs. And remember, of course, a Premier League double is a hopeful achievement that West Ham can get over Spurs. They want to get that for only the 3rd time in the Premier League, having previously managed to do so in 1998-99 season and the 2013-14 season. Only the 2 other times that West Ham have beaten Spurs in both fixtures over their Premier League season. Here's Bowen though, getting them forward. Van de Ven with a push. Wanted a free kick there to Jared Bowen, but the referee said no. We have another goal at the City Ground, and is a deja vu for Fulham. Nottingham Forest 3, Fulham 1 at the City Ground. Deja vu indeed it could be, going well behind in a game, and Fulham looking to start to claw it back a lot earlier than they did at the weekend. Tussin with the header from the corner gives Fulham a goal back into the game, and you never know, that could be the sparking of a comeback at the City Grounds. Forest 3, Fulham 1. Only 4 minutes gone in the second half, so a fairly quick goal to get back. But Forest will be wanting to answer back. We will see. Free kick here for West Ham United. A few fans maybe wanted a bit more than just a free kick, wanted maybe a yellow card for Yves Bissouma there, but the referee just giving the free kick and nothing more. for the switch ball. A long diagonal from West Ham. Out to the left-hand side to find Antonio. Looking for a run into the box, but well marked out there by Pedro Porro. And Bentancur tries to get Spurs forward, but intercepted by Zuma. Nice work play by West Ham now. Paquetá through the lines, trying to find Bowen. Bowen gets the break of the ball. Bowen doesn't get in the space to take the shot as Vicario spilled it there, and Antonio was on the chase, but he caught it the second time of asking. Again, good play by West Ham. We talk about Spurs' play on the edge of the box in those intricate passes. Really nice from West Ham. They get the break of the ball, and Bowen just tries to take a touch, and he just doesn't have the time and space to take a touch. He has to strike it first time, but the touch that he does take allows Spurs to get the clearance and defend it well and get it back to their goalkeeper. But again, good play from West Ham though, and a good response after they got their equaliser. Now they come forward again. Here's Bowen on his own, and again the control isn't really perfect from Jared Bowen, and it allows the ball to bounce back to Vicario. But the rain is firmly pouring down here at the London Stadium, which, as it stands at the moment, would make it a very difficult game to control a very wet ball at the moment for that counter-attacking football approach. Certainly not a night for goalkeepers tonight with the weather. Madison. Bentancur. Through the legs of the referee to give to Udogie. Back to Bentancur. Madison now. Rodrigo Bentancur again through the lines. Finds Johnson and tried to find the runner. Madison there, but again, good defending by Mavropanos to get it away and put it out for the Spurs throw. It was a good opportunity made by Spurs again, starting to find the spaces in between the lines as they come again. Johnson tried to find Son a bit short on that one, and Souček there with the clearance for the home side, and the ball will bounce out of play for a throw in there. Spurs waste no time in taking the throw. Madison. Bentancur. Back to Madison. Now Johnson. Looking for the cross. Again, eyeing up Son in the middle, but again West Ham getting it away. Here comes Spurs again, though. Wanting to restore their lead. Madison. Bentancur. Bissouma. Now Madison. Porro. Now Bentancur with a cross. Fabianski did get a firm two hands to it, but didn't get it away, and then Antonio tries to clear it away from Udogie, puts it out for a Spurs throw at the moment. Seems to be an absolute awful conditions for a goalkeeper to try and get a firm handle onto the ball. That's why Fabianski just went to punch the ball away. Probably a smart decision. Just palm the ball away. Let's talk about one game we haven't heard very much from tonight. Let's head back to St James's Park, where it is Newcastle United 1, Everton 0. Newcastle led from very early on against Alexander Isak's goal, and they've continued to threaten Everton, but to no avail as of yet. Still only 1-0 to the good, and this is where Everton can be at their best as well. They did this against Bournemouth at the weekend. Bournemouth did take the lead, but what they did was they hung in there. They hung in the fight. They got a late equaliser, and barring any the late drama of a kind of forced error from Seamus Coleman, they probably would have come out of that game with a point. But that is what Everton do. Keep themselves in the game and see if they can nick a goal late on to try and scrape a result away from home. And at the moment they are keeping themselves in the game. Newcastle 1, Everton 0. They're well into the second half in that one at St James's Park. So Newcastle still lead. Free kick to Spurs there, Phelan Madison, but taking it quickly again. Spurs not waiting around for those free kicks. As ball into the box from Johnson again. Fizzed across for Werner this time, but Werner didn't reach for it. Good move down the right. Bentancur to find Porro, and then Porro threaded it through for Brennan Johnson, who got to the byline and fired it across. And again, Timo Werner was there, but he just couldn't reach it. And that would have been a good goal again from Spurs. Almost identical to their first goal, but just from the opposite side. Vicario under pressure. And Romero also under pressure. Good pressing from West Ham there. Making it uncomfortable for Spurs, but they do play their way out of that, Tottenham, which is credit to them. Udogie. Ball forward. Son on the chase, but Zuma in the cover. And clears it out for a Spurs throw on the left-hand side. Good work from Kurt Zuma to cover over Heung-min Son there, the Spurs captain. Bentancur. Again, trying to go through the lines, but West Ham have bodies in the way to clear it away through Sofal. Like for another Spurs throw. Hanging in there at the moment, West Ham. Spurs dominating the ball. One thing that James Ward-Prowse will be wanting to hone in on tonight is the fact that he's either scored or assisted a goal in each of his last 6 Premier League games against Tottenham, scoring 4 and assisting 3 in this run. His 10 goal involvements overall against Spurs is the most against a single opponent in the competition. So Ward-Prowse seems to do well against Tottenham. Of course, he scored one of the goals in the reverse fixture to lead West Ham to victory in North London. Be wanting to be involved tonight. Bowen got his assist. He scored in the reverse fixture as well on the assists column tonight at that corner. Zuma, the man on the score sheet for the Hammers. It has the game at 1-1 at the London Stadium after Brennan Johnson's early goal. Zuma levelling things from the header from the corner. And after 33 minutes, we stand at West Ham United 1, Spurs 1. A draw wouldn't be enough for Spurs to apply pressure on Aston Villa. It wouldn't be enough to go level on points with Villa. They would be 2 points behind Villa with a draw. With Villa to play tomorrow against Manchester City. They'll be level on goals scored with Villa though. 62 goals scored apiece there. Spurs only earning them a point. This would be, as it stands, West Ham will be not a bad result for them as well, keeping their grips with the teams in and around them. Just to tell you about a bit of drama at St James's Park this evening. Actually, I'll tell you about that in a moment. The Spurs come forward again here, and the ball into Son was just a bit overhit, and it skipped the control of Heung-min Son and straight into the hands of Lucas Fabianski. Back to St James's Park. Newcastle thought they'd extended their lead against Everton. They thought they'd taken a second goal, but that goal has been disallowed. Dan Byrne, I thought he got a second for Newcastle, but that goal checked by VAR, and to the thankful nature of Sean Dyche, he will be very thankful that VAR check ended in no goal for Newcastle, and it is Newcastle 1, Everton 0 it remains at St James's Park. West Ham intercept Spurs in the middle. Here's Paquetá. Now finds Bowen. Bowen out to Sofal on the right, and they'll be pulled back here for a free kick as Jared Bowen, when he did make the pass, was absolutely clattered by Christian Romero. We will get a firm talking to by referee John Brooks. See this again. Bowen just takes a touch with his left and then tries to spray it out to the right hand side to find Sofal. He knows the challenge is coming. Side foots it out and it just comes flying in, Christian Romero. No need. No need for that. And a free kick given to West Ham. Second half's underway in our 7:45 kickoffs between Bournemouth Crystal Palace and Burnley Wolves, where it is level in both games, 0-0 at the Vitality and 1-1 at Turf Moor. I'll update you on both of those games as if anything happens. So far, only one goal since the second half started elsewhere, and that was Fulham's goal, but nothing to add to that just yet. Still 3-1 to Forest at the City Ground. Right, free kick for West Ham here, 1-1. Less than 10 minutes to go in the first half here in East London. And James Ward-Prowse, along with Lucas Paquetá, are over this free kick for the Hammers. On the right-hand side. Decent area, again. Already scored from a set-piece tonight, West Ham. They've got the height and the threat in the box. Will they go straight from goal here, James Ward-Prowse? Or will they try and whip it in? West Ham. Ward-Prowse takes the strike, goes for goal, and forces a big save off Vicario, who parries it. And then followed up with a clearance from Timo Werner out for the throw-in. Good strike, good save. And James Ward-Prowse not too far away from finding the net there for West Ham United. See this again. Not too far away. Good work from the goalkeeper to get across firmly quick and make a good save. And fairly even in terms of the attacking threats so far. Both sides have had 4 shots. So they're both threatening. Both with 2 shots on target as well. So fairly even first half. Spurs dominating the ball, but as expected. That's not a surprise. 72% of the ball for Spurs, but David Moyes wouldn't have kidded himself, knowing that Spurs will have more of the ball here, as Antonio does well to break away for West Ham down the right. Felt he was fouled. He's only going to get a throw in here, but he's now having a conversation with the assistant referee. He felt that he should have flagged that for a foul from Mickey van de Ven, but the referee and the assistant felt it was not a foul, and just a throw in will go West Ham's way. Here's Sofal to take this throw for the Hammers. Gonna go for the long throw. He's taking his time here, Vladimir Sofal. Here he comes. Long throw into the box. Away by Bissouma. As Emerson recycles it back. Kudus looking to whip a ball in, Mohamed Kudus. A lot of height in that one. Taken down by Bowen on the right hand side. Beautiful deft touch. And then he hits it off Timo Werner and gets West Ham a corner. Fantastic from Jared Bowen there. Wins West Ham another corner. Corner whipped in towards the back post, and a doggy this time to clear it away. Paquetá to whip it back in. Zuma was closest, but headed away again by Bissouma this time. Ward-Prowse now out to Bowen. Bowen linking up with, blocked off by Werner. And the last touch comes off Timo Werner, and another West Ham corner comes out of it. To Werner's, again, disagreement, but I think it was a deflection off Timo Werner, so the correct decision by the assistant. Bowen again with this corner. Left-footed in, swinging corner. Back post it comes. And Vicario flapped at it again, but this time he's lucky that it didn't go into the danger zone and Spurs could get away. Here comes Brennan Johnson on the break. Johnson, look at the speed. But that's really good recovery from Lucas Paquetá to block him off there. Really good from Brennan Johnson there, but good recovery by Lucas Paquetá, tracking back. A couple of times we've seen Paquetá's recovery runs helping out West Ham defensively. They win another free kick as well, the Hammers. He's not only offering at that end, he's offering at the attacking end as well. 7 goals, 7 assists, 14 goal contributions for Lucas Paquetá. Remember, he has had an injury as well to deal with this season. So that's a nice return. Having been out for a while. Was out for a while at the start of the season as well. Here's West Ham again. Cross from Kudus. Blocked off by Porro. It takes a deflection and out for a West Ham corner again. Responded positively, West Ham, I think. Done well. They've been looked more of an attacking threat since they kind of equalised the game. A spell where Spurs looked the better of the sides, but West Ham have certainly looked a lot more threatening as of recent, and those set pieces, and Ward-Prowse over to take this one on the left hand side, the first corner from the left for West Ham. All the rest on the right have been taken by Bowen, but this will be Ward-Prowse's first corner of the night. Another in-swinging corner, a lot of height to the back post, and up and away by a doggy. Find its way back to Sofal. He'll whip it back in. Headed away by Porro. Ward-Prowse will bring it back into West Ham control. There's a shove there by Paquetá on Bentancur, I think that was, and that will be a free kick to Tottenham. Yeah, pull on Bentancur there from Paquetá, so it is a foul. Spurs are getting another free kick here. Just after they took their free kick there. And it's Madison, the man that's been fouled this time. And it's Paquetá again. Just running in and absolutely barges James Madison off the ball completely. Commitment. Passion from Lucas Paquetá. He does have a yellow card as well in the process, so sure he'll be pretty pleased with that. Had an impact and avoided a yellow card as West Ham looked to break again, but Kudus tried a bit of skill but couldn't find a West Ham shirt. Well, Spurs will just recover the ball. And don't forget at half-time, once it goes half-time in this one, there's still 4 other games underway, so we'll be keeping up to date with those 4 games, telling you what's happening, any goal updates, as well as talking about the first half from this game at the London Stadium and getting you a few stats and details from this first half as well. Spurs again on the attack. Son now with the cross in, blocked away by Zuma. West Ham look to get away. Kudus was challenged. The ball back to Emerson, who fires it forward. Antonio on the run. And Mickey van der Ven committed in his challenge. Puts the ball down, and Mickey van der Ven, it rolls out of play for a West Ham throw. And now Van der Ven knew it went out of play. Kind of rolled the ball away, used his hand to get the ball out of the way to deny West Ham a quick throw in, and he gets a booking for that. Yeah, that gets the yellow card for throwing the ball away there. Mickey van der Ven, just unnecessary. That's the rules. All the players know the rules. You cannot throw the ball away or kick it away. Otherwise you will get a straight yellow card without protest or without worry. Van der Ven in the book, but that throw-in comes to nothing as Spurs on the break now themselves. Here's Werner. Werner down the left. Looking for options, but he's closed off this time. Has to go backwards to Udogie. Across to Bissouma. Now Bentancur. Back to Bissouma. Bentancur. As we're about to hit the 45-minute mark. Son. Going to spread it wide, but blocked off by Kudus. Mavropanos clears from his own box. As the 45 minutes are up, and we will have 2 additional minutes at the end of this first half. So 2 more minutes to add on. West Ham 1, Spurs 1. Madison spreads it out to the right, finds Johnson, finds Porro, look for the cross, blocked by Kudus. Spurs corner. Spurs' first corner of the night. And will come from that right hand side. Ange Postecoglou's put his hood up. He had his hood down for a while. Ange Postecoglou, braving the weather. He's finally kind of capitulated and thought, you know what, just put the bloody hood up. Corner comes in from Spurs, headed away by West Ham, and out for a Spurs throw. Emerson committed to that header. Got it away. Spurs with a throw. Madison working in the box, trying to squeeze a bit of space, and the pull down off Souček, who wanted a free kick inside his own box, but Madison hit the ball off Souček and won the corner, of which James Madison will take. Right-footed delivery. Whipped in again. Van de Ven with a header. Thought he headed it out there. Bentancur kept it alive, and Madison with a cross. Took a deflection. And another corner it will come. As West Ham put it out for the... and behind will be another Spurs corner. So they went around 45.5 minutes without a single corner. Spurs now have had 3 in quick succession to end this half. Well, it'll be third time lucky for Madison's delivery. Whips in again. Zuma with a header. Not fully cleared. Bissouma. Now Bentancur with a strike. And hit wide by Rodrigo Bentancur. And that is the half-time whistle. David Moyes. I don't know who would be the happier of the 2 managers at half-time. This game fairly even, but the response from David Moyes' side to going behind inside 5 minutes would be something he will take a positive out of this first half from Kurt Zouma, getting West Ham back on level terms after Brennan Johnson put Spurs ahead inside 5 minutes. And that is where we stand at the break. West Ham 1, Spurs 1.
Catch me if I fall.
Welcome back to Premier League Live. Half-time at the London Stadium is West Ham United 1, Spurs 1 at the break. 4 more other games on ongoing at the moment in the Premier League, all kicked off earlier than our game this evening. Two 7:30 kickoffs between Newcastle and Everton, and Forest against Fulham are ending coming into the latter stages of those games, the last 15 minutes of those. Newcastle and Forest, the two teams looking to pick up 3 points at home tonight, and are on course for doing that. Newcastle leading by a goal to nil against Everton, and Forest 3-1 up against Fulham. The two 7:45 kickoffs as well. They're not long into the second half. There it is still 0-0 between Bournemouth and Crystal Palace, and Burnley 1, Wolves 1 as well in that stage. And it is level, of course, at the London Stadium. So West Ham 1, Spurs 1 of our 5 games tonight. Right, so at the moment, it's actually going to be a good night for Forest, a very good night. They started excellently well against Fulham, taking a 3-0 lead into half-time. Fulham came out of the traps fairly quickly at the start of the second half and got a goal back, but a good 25 minutes has surpassed since then, and they haven't been able to eat into any more of Forest's lead so far. It still remains that Forest do have that 2-goal lead at the moment, but remember, Fulham were at this point at the weekend 3-1 down away at Sheffield United, and they got 2 late goals to salvage a point from that game. 3-3 it finished, and just at the moment Forest have just made a big change. Morgan Gibbs-White, who scored their 3rd goal tonight, is coming off, and he's just been replaced by Giovanni Reina, who's just come on for Forest, adding a bit of fresh legs, of course. Giovanni Reina, that's their 2nd sub of the game. Callum Hudson-Odoi, who opened the scoring tonight for Forest, came off a good 5 minutes ago for Divock Origi. So attacking substitutions there from Nuno Espirito Santo, and his side are due lead by 3-1. And these 3 points that they could get tonight if they hold on here, Forest, would be massive for them in this relegation battle this season. We will give you the live table in just a second when we can get it up on the screen for you. We'll show you the bottom half of the table and where everyone stands at this moment in time, where everybody fits in, on how many points they're on. Let's just show you that now. There we are. There's the bottom of the table as it stands. You can see Forest above that dotted line, and there will be 3 points clear of Luton Town as it stands. If they win tonight, they will go on 25 points, 3 above Luton on 22. And with a slightly better goal difference as well, minus 14 to Luton's minus 19 at the moment. But one thing that Forest will know about is they have the second most points dropped from winning positions this season. 21 points they have dropped from winning positions in the Premier League this season, which is a huge number of points, where they could have been in a very good position. But they're in a very good position at the moment and looking to hold on for 3 points at the City grounds. Also elsewhere, Burnley could have found themselves very close to keeping that pressure on Luton and trying to conjure up their own comeback story this season. They're currently getting a point at home against Wolves, but it would have been 3 points. They did take the lead in that one, and that 3 points would get them 21 points they would have after 31 games. If they can come back to win that game, Burnley, that are drawing 1-1 at the moment, that would give them just a point behind Luton and 4 points off safety, which is huge for them. Sheffield United play on Thursday. Of course, Luton play tomorrow night away at Arsenal, so tough games for Luton and Sheffield United to respond. If Burnley and Forest can get big results tonight, because of course Luton head to Arsenal and Sheffield United head to Liverpool. Both sides have very good home records. Liverpool unbeaten at home this season, and Arsenal have a very good home record as well against all the sides in the Premier League this season. We look at Arsenal's home record this season, if I can get it up. They have only lost just the once at home this season in the league, and that was West Ham, I think, that beat Arsenal at home. Yeah, it was. So very good home record for both of those sides. It'll be difficult for Luton and Sheffield United to get anything out of their games, but you never know. Everton, of course, not looking good for them. They're still 1-0 down away at Newcastle at the moment, but a point would be huge for them if they can get it. They're still only 1-0 down. A point would keep them a clear distance on the teams below them, and having that game in hand on the teams in and around them would be massive as well. But they never know what can happen in that one. Brentford at the moment, they play tomorrow night's Crystal Palace. They'll be getting a point as it stands at the moment away at Bournemouth, but they'll want to keep themselves firmly adrift of any relegation conversation, and a point would be good enough to do so, keep them 9 points clear of the drop zone. Crystal Palace. It looks like, as it stands, Brentford are on the cusp of kind of that relegation battle. If they get a good result tomorrow against Brighton at home, they could find themselves out of the conversation. Everton, Forest and Luton and Burnley and Sheffield United will be the 5 teams looking to avoid those bottom 3 spots by the end of the season. But you never know what could happen. That is where we stand. Still no action in those late games. Still the same scorelines in all of those 4 early kickoffs this evening as we have in the Premier League. Newcastle still leading Everton by that 1-0 Forest 3-1 up against Fulham. Bournemouth 0, Crystal Palace 0, and Burnley 1, Wolves 1 at the moment. West Ham 1, Tottenham 1 as well. And the 5 games to come for you over the next few nights. Arsenal host Luton tomorrow. Brentford welcome Brighton. Aston Villa have a trip to the Etihad also tomorrow night. That's our key game we'll be focusing on. And then Thursday night, 2 games as well for you. Liverpool host Sheffield United. And our focus game, Chelsea against Manchester United at Stamford Bridge. So exciting football to bring to you over the next 3 nights. And we've another half to go at the London Stadium as well for you tonight. Right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be ready to recap anything, if anything changes in all those earlier games, plus look ahead to the second half from the London Stadium, which is around about 5 minutes or so away. Do stay with us here on Premier League Live.
Catch me if I fall.
Welcome back to Premier League Live this Tuesday night. Half time at the London Stadium. It is West Ham United 1, Tottenham 1. Don't forget, tomorrow night we've more Premier League action for you, as well as the fight for the title continues and the race for top 4 continues as well. The 2 teams involved in both of those battles will take place tomorrow. Manchester City in that fight for the title in 3rd, and Aston Villa looking for a top 4 place. A Champions League place will be huge for Villa under Unai Emery. They head to Manchester City, who are unbeaten at home this season, but did drop points on Sunday to Arsenal. Who knows? That's tomorrow, an 8:15 kickoff, but we'll be live again as we were tonight from 8 o'clock. To focus on those 2 earlier games as well for you before kickoff at the Etihad. Right, the second half from the London Stadium is getting underway very shortly. Of course, still another couple of minutes away, and it is still all the same around the grounds. And it could be big points for a huge 3 points for Forest in their relegation battle. A huge point for Burnley at the moment, but they want more and they can push for it later on. They're coming into the last few minutes in those games between Newcastle, Everton, and Nottingham Forest, Fulham. And if there's gonna be a change in the result, a change in the outcome, that will need to come fairly quickly. Arsenal Clips, Alaves, long time no see. How you holding up? Welcome in. Thank you very much for joining us. Not bad. Doing well. Doing well. Good to see you again in the chat. I think it's fun from... there's a change of name. Great to see you again. Fun supporting West Ham today. Well, of course, Arsenal fan would be supporting anyone against Spurs, of course. Not a surprise. At the moment, it is 1-1 between the two sides, and always a very close game between West Ham and Spurs. It's never one of those games where one team completely runs away with the fixture. Very rarely is it that between these two, and that's why we love this fixture, because there's always a close game in it. That's Forest again, nearly coming towards a fourth there. Divock Origi with a shot from around the edge of the box, just wide of the left post. But applauded by the crowd at his attempt there from Origi. Not too far away, but Forest still in firm grip of that game. And that result as it stands will be a huge 3 points for Forest. A huge week, because of course they've dropped 4 points over that international break. They'd been deducted 4 points, and if they hold on for the win tonight, they would have eradicated that points deduction in a matter of 2 games, because they would have got they got a point at the weekend and will be getting 3 points tonight. So that 4-point deduction would basically be eradicated fairly easily, and they would be in a good position. We will see if they can hold on. Goal to tell you bites, and I said, club, this is what they do. They cling on, they hold on, and they keep themselves in games. And maybe can they nick a goal? It may be deja vu again for Everton away from home, because they went 1-0 down against Bournemouth. They came back and equalised. They'll be hoping that they don't end up the same way in that one. But they've done the exact same here tonight. They've went 1-0 down. They've held themselves in the game. And later on, they have levelled it. Dominic Calvert-Lewin from the penalty spot has levelled it for Everton, and that was huge, because remember, Newcastle actually thought they'd taken a 2-goal lead. That goal was disallowed by VAR, and I said, you know, Sean Dyche will be the most thankful person inside St James's Park for that, because this is what Everton can do. They keep it at 1 goal, they keep it tight, they keep it very close and well within their reach and their grasp, and they try and nick a goal late on, and they've done the exact same thing that they did at the weekend against Bournemouth. They held in there, and they've now got an equaliser. It is Newcastle 1, Everton 1. We will see what way it ends up, if Everton have done enough to claim a point, or if they will be deja vu completely for them, and they will find themselves behind going out of that one in the end. We will find out. It is Newcastle 1, Everton 1, and they're just into the 90th minute there, so the clock is ticking down if either want to get a late winner. All the players back out on the pitch at the London Stadium for the second half, ready to get underway as we're back on the way just now. West Ham getting us back on the way for another second half, where it hangs in the balance here at the London Stadium. West Ham 1, Spurs 1. Both have a lot of they want their objectives to be fulfilled this evening. A win would be a very good result for either team. A point really doesn't massively help either. I mean, a point would be okay for Spurs if Villa lose tomorrow night. Spurs do have a game in hand. That is away at Chelsea, of course, over Villa, so they would still be able to go above them if Villa lose tomorrow night and Spurs win their game in hand. But West Ham, crucially, as it stands, would go back up to 7th, not because they're drawing, but because Newcastle are drawing at home to Everton. Newcastle will go back down to 8th with a draw. West Ham stay in 7th as it stands. A win for West Ham would be even better, because they would only be a point behind Manchester United if they win this game tonight. That's a bit off just for the moment. Kudus. Soucek finds Emerson. Back to Zuma. In a tight space. Fires it down the line. Looking for an option. Quarrels of handball off Christian Romero, but the referee says no. And Spurs get the ball, but give it away. Through Bissouma. Here's Souček for West Ham. On the left, linking up with Kudus. Souček back to Kudus. That's good work from West Ham in a tight area under pressure. And they get it back to their keeper, Fabianski. It goes wide to Vladimir Sofal. Paquetá. Forward to Bowen. Nice move, Bowen. And Sofal continued his run. He's on the chase here. But Romero switching across. They try and block off the West Ham man. And Iboni can put it out for the throw-in as Sofal takes it quickly. Blocked off by Bissouma. Cleared away by Bissouma. Bentancur gives it away high up there. Ward-Prowse now. Antonio! Big save by Vicario. Kudus though keeps it alive for West Ham. Kudus with a whip ball in. Bowen on the back post and headed behind by a doggy for the corner. That was so poor from Spurs. I mean, Bentancur just trying to play it through the lines. I mean, what are you doing? Under pressure and just tries to ease it around Ward-Prowse. Does not see him or does not believe he can get it. Ward-Prowse intercepts, plays it off to Antonio. Antonio has the strike, which forces a big save from Vicario. Spurs causing their own problems there. Bowen to take this corner. Left-footed delivery, whipped in. Onto the head of Mavropanos off the line. Oh my god, and how did Antonio not finish it off? But he was offside anyway. Oh my goodness me. Margins. Fine, fine margins. See this again. Antonio battling with the goalkeeper. Yeah, he's standing in an offside position. He's in front of the keeper. Header from Mavropanos. Off the line by Vicario and then cleared away. Fantastic, but I think it would have been, maybe could have been disallowed as Antonio was battling. I got maybe a bit too much of a physical battle with Vicario in the end there. Nonetheless, it comes to nothing anyway in the end for West Ham, but a very positive move there, and it all came down to the fact that Spurs just played themselves into trouble, really. They literally played into West Ham's hands there. But they remain unscathed from that position, Spurs at the moment. Still 1-1, but a positive start to the second half for the Hammers. And feeling they could be in the ascendancy here early on. And they'll want to take advantage. 2 shots, 2 on target in the second half already. A lovely hold-up play by Antonio. Ward-Prowse now wide to Bowen. Bowen. West Ham on the attack again. Here's Jared Bowen. Cuts it back to Paquetá. On the spin. Edge of the box. Paquetá! Shot goes wide. But again, a really nice move by West Ham on the break. And Paquetá just couldn't get it on target. But really scintillating football. Spin away from his man, did Paquetá. And just on the spin, he tried to curl it. Just didn't get anywhere near enough of a curl on it to find the top corner, but it just went the wrong side of the post. But that's really positive start for David Moyes' side, who look a real massive threats in the attacking area so far in this second half. The Spurs give it away again. Porro this time. Here's Emerson. Down the line to Antonio, and then West Ham on the break again. Here's Antonio. Holds the ball up. Battling. Loses the battle and actually is fouled in the process there by Christian Romero, so a free kick will go West Ham's way. We have a goal at the Vitality Stadium. It's taken 80 minutes to get there, but the deadlock is broken between Bournemouth and Crystal Palace, and it is the home side that have taken the lead in that one. Bournemouth 1, Crystal Palace 0. Justin Kluivert with the goal after 79 minutes to give Bournemouth the lead. So 1-0 there. Free kick for West Ham here. Ward-Prowse to take it. Right-footed. Fizz towards the back post. Souček can't keep it in. Goes behind for the goal kick. Real threat from West Ham to start this second half. Funnily enough, they've already had the same amount of shots on target in the second half already than they had in the whole of the first half. 2 on target in the first half. They've already had 2 shots on target inside 6 and a bit minutes in the second half. Madison to Son. Spurs looking to respond, get themselves on the front foot to start the second half, but they've been pegged back and pushed back at the start. Here's Brennan Johnson though. Madison does well to manoeuvre. Madison with a shot. Deflected. Not dealt with by West Ham. Not cleared away. Souček with the header now. Kudus. And Souček can clear his lines and get West Ham up the pitch once again. Antonio fully committed, and there's going to be a free kick here maybe. Yeah, it's going to be a free kick to Spurs and a foul. And a yellow card going the way of Mikel Antonio. See this again. Holding off Romero and then... Yeah, he slides down on Bentancur there. So that is a foul. And Mikel Antonio in the book. There you go. So Antonio booked. Final score from the City Grind. Nottingham Forest 3, Fulham 1. 3 first half goals from Forest is enough to get them and their fans bouncing at the City Grind on a wet and dreary night, but not in terms of their football. Forest 3, Fulham 1, the final score. Fascinating result. Oh, cross there from Brennan Johnson. Almost into the danger mix there. The Spurs just trying to threaten again, but all the way through those bodies in there. Positive from Spurs though. Bentancur through the lines, finds Porro. Porro trying to weave his way through. Son lays it off to Werner, blocked. Madison it was actually took the shot. But Spurs now can feel a bit of momentum swinging back in their favour. Competitive game indeed. West Ham trying to intercept there. Emerson committed in his challenge. And they get the throw in. Basuma, the man that's come off the worst of that. Basuma and Emerson colliding there to win the ball. And Basuma stayed down. He'll have to get a bit of treatment at the moment. See this again? Yeah, it's just a collision between the two. Emerson gets the ball first. Collides it off both Basuma and then goes out for the throw-in, but yes, it looks painful on Yves Bissouma, but not a foul, but painful indeed. Still playing at the St James's Park. Just under 9 minutes played at St James's Park in added time. Still playing, so final whistle imminent surely in that one. They had 9 added minutes, so maybe a curtailment on the way. The final whistle just seconds away surely at St James's Park. We'll get there in a moment. As Spurs on the break. Son finds Brennan Johnson. Johnson cuts it back. Lovely back heel. Finds Porro. Now Madison. Porro linking up. Finds Son blocked off. Bissouma from distance. Hits it wide. Yves Bissouma there. Lovely from Spurs again in their approach play. One touch, intricate play in and around the edge of the box, and West Ham cannot get it cleared, and Bissouma with his shot and headed wide of that right post. Final whistle has gone at St James's Park. And it is Newcastle 1, Everton 1. Everton have left it late, but a late Dominic Calvert-Lewin penalty secures a huge point for Everton on the road at St James's Park. And a massive result it is in their hopes of evading relegation this season. A 6-point deduction by the Premier League this season, but they do sit a firm 4 points above the relegation zone after that big point away at Newcastle this evening. So 1-1 there. Here comes Jared Bowen for West Ham. Spinning away from his marker. Here comes Bowen, still going. Paquetá trying to thread it through. Get a second shot at it. Paquetá flashes one towards goal, but fired over the bar. Lovely footwork from Jared Bowen. The ability that he has to just evade challenge is wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Charge down the right hand side up against the doggy, battle him off, spins him round, stays in control of the ball, beats past the coming back of Werner, and then plays it off. Incredible. Incredible from Jared Bowen. Comes to nothing for West Ham in the end, but again, really nice football. Both sides threatening in these early stages of this second half, but neither side able to take the lead. As it stands, it is still West Ham 1, Tottenham 1. Long way to go. We've already seen some big results already tonight, mostly for the relegation teams. Here's Porro, blocked off by Souček. That cross cleared away by Emerson as Romero brings it back down. Porro infield to Madison. Madison tried to play it out wide, took a deflection off Ward-Prowse, and will be a Tottenham throw-in on the right hand side. Coming into the last few minutes of the games between Bournemouth Palace and Burnley Wolves. It is Bournemouth who lead by a goal to nil against Palace, and Burnley and Wolves 1-1 at the moment. Madison looking for the cut back, couldn't find Son, could only find the foot of Emerson, who clears it away, and Antonio trying to bring it under control, but wanted a foul there again, Antonio, but nothing in that challenge. Spurs just a bit physical, but nothing too much. Brennan Johnson took a touch, but not enough to keep it in play and behind for a goal kick. Positive signs from both sides to start these first 15 minutes of the second half, where both sides can feel that they are able to get more than what they just have at this moment in time. Both sides feel they're capable of a win and getting a win. Nice hold up from Souček. Paquetá with the ball forward, trying to find Bowen. Blocked off by Destiny Udogie, and Vicario with a long ball. Werner fix it forward. Brennan Johnson on the charge. Blocked away by Zuma. Paquetá. Zuma. Now gets West Ham on the break. Antonio battling with Van de Ven, who comes out the better. The Spurs defender. Spun away Madison. Here comes James Madison. End-to-end stuff. Here's Son. Edge of the box. Lays it off to Brennan Johnson. Back to Heung-min Son. Now Madison. No time to take the shots. And Paquetá with a challenge. Ward-Prowse in behind. Antonio is in. Couldn't control it. Still going. Antonio! Straight at Vicario. Don't know if the flag was going to go up or not. The flag, I think, stayed down. Oh my goodness me. Antonio with the golden opportunity. End-to-end stuff, this. A goal is coming. At what end? Who knows? Emerson nicks it away. Gets West Ham on the counter and clattered there, and we'll get a free kick. Just see this again. Madison shoved off the ball by Paquetá, and Ward-Prowse blasts one in behind. Antonio on the run, completely free of the defenders, battling with Van de Ven. Gets the better of Van de Ven, gets round him, and just is one-on-one with Vicario, and just side foots it straight at the Spurs keeper. It's a team effort in the end. Wonderful run by Antonio, but a team effort let him down, and the flag stayed down, so it wasn't offside. Unlucky, but good opportunity. Mavropanos. Bowen. Battling. Gone down there, Bowen. He wanted a free kick. The officials didn't feel that there was a foul in there, but he's going to have a check on Jared Bowen at the moment, the referee, John Brooks. So we'll see what comes of this. Just have a look at this. Yeah, maybe. Maybe something in there from Destiny Adogi on Bowen, but I don't think there's enough for a foul. Spurs will get the throw in anyway. Will be a throw in the Spurs inside their own half. Into added time at the Vitality Stadium and at Turf Moor. Turf Moor, I was elate for a sudden moment because they thought that Burnley had got the winning goal, but that goal ruled out instantly by the assistant in that game, so it is still 1-1 in that one. Burnley, a big point, but they could have had more at the moment, but still, just into added time, 4 minutes they've still to go in that one. Burnley, and enough time maybe if they wanted a winner. Into the second minute of added time at the Vitality Stadium, Bournemouth 1, Crystal Palace 0. Can Crystal Palace get back and win, get a draw on the road, or will Bournemouth hold on to get their second successive home win in the space of just a couple of days? We will see. Dying moments in those two games. Lovely work from Kudus. Wins the ball off Porro. Kudus. Lovely skill to evade the challenges. Plays it back to Zuma. Mavropanos spreading it out to the left. Bringing it down does Kudus again. Absolute incredible player, Mohamed Kudus. Just looks so composed on the ball. Every situation, he's always got a trick up his sleeve to get away from the opposition players. We had those challenges. Keeps West Ham in the possession and on the front foot. Here's Mavropanos. So foul wins West Ham the throw-in off Timo Werner. Throw in from the right hand side. Suchek beaten to the ball. Porro lays it off to Brennan Johnson on the break. Johnson running into the box. Goes down. Fair challenge to the referee. Werner keeps it alive. Cycles it back infield. Bissouma. Now Bentancur finds Son. Tried to squeeze through, find the shot, but wasn't accurate enough from Heung-min Son. And that goes over the bar for a West Ham goal kick. Son, to be completely honest, hasn't really had much tonight. Not been the most involved of players. Especially in the 18-yard box, has had minimal involvement. 2 shots, 1 on target, 1 off target so far, so not having his most fruitful night, and Spurs are going to make a change in the moment fairly shortly with just over 25 minutes to go. Still all square. West Ham 1, Spurs 1. 3 points would be huge for either of these two teams. Spurs would go level on points with Aston Villa in 4th. West Ham, they win, they would close the gap to Manchester United above them and really open a gap in 7th space to those teams below them as well. Mavropanos, long ball forward, looking for Kudus. Kudus is quick. He does keep the ball in play, but I think the flag has gone up there against Mohamed Kudus, so he was in an offside position when that ball was played. So Spurs free kick. Werner. Still playing in those two 7:45 kickoffs. Bournemouth 1, Palace 0, Burnley 1, Wolves 1 at the moment. There's going to be a late change in the scorelines in those games. They have to come inside the next minute or two, surely. Bissouma to Van de Ven. There's no more time at Turf Moor. It is finished. Burnley 1, Wolves 1. So Burnley took the lead. Wolves levelled. But neither side could find a winner. And they both take a point apiece. 1-1. And we'll tell you what that means for the table a bit later on. After the final whistle here from the London Stadium. Here's Jared Bowen for the Hammers. Plays it back towards his own goal. Back to Vladimir Sofal. Final score at the Vitality as well. No change there. Bournemouth 1. Crystal Palace 0. 1 goal enough for Bournemouth this time round to see victory at home after their 2-1 win against Everton at the weekend. They had enough from 1 goal to beat Crystal Palace tonight, who are the only team tonight to not score out of the 10 teams in action. Everyone else has scored at least 1 goal. Werner. Infield to Bissouma. Now James Maddison. To Christian Romero. To the final quarter of the game. Here at the London Stadium. Brennan Johnson plays it forward for Porro. Porro looking for the cross. Back to Johnson. Shoots. Hits the back of Ward-Prowse. As they come back on attack for Spurs. Porro. Romero. Now Maddison. Linking up with Son. Maddison. To Bentancur. Bissouma. Almost everybody back for West Ham. Sitting deep. Porro wide on the right. Back infield to Romero. Porro. Switching it up. Fights Son. Son trying to find something from the edge of the box. Blocked off. Bentancur. Now Porro. Gets a break of the ball. Porro with a shot. Straight down into the hands of Lukasz Fabianski, who blocks and gets a save on that one. Once again, so far, out of this, the first 4 games that we've seen come to the final whistle of the Premier League week, we have had no away wins. 2 home wins, 2 draws from our 4 games that are already concluded tonight after the whole of the weekend's fixtures, all 10 fixtures from the weekend. Not a single away win from any of them. Fascinating. Spurs are going to make a double change here. So they've been warming a few players up for the last couple of minutes, and they're going to make a double change. Pap Sarr and Dejan Kulusevski are going to be coming on. It's going to be Rodrigo Bentancur and Pedro Porro that are going to be... No, it's not Pedro Porro, sorry. Rodrigo Bentancur and James Maddison, who's going to be coming off. So Sarr and Kulusevski on, and Bentancur and Maddison off. So a double substitution there for Spurs. And it was Porro that was coming over to take the throw in. That's where I got confused. He was coming over to the sidelines, just not coming over to come off. He was coming over to take the throw in. Only the 2 subs for Spurs. Trying to add a bit of fresh legs in those attacking areas for the visiting side to try and get a bit more out of them to maybe go on and win this game. They've 20 minutes to do so. 20 minutes plus the additional time. 1-1 at the London Stadium. These 2 sides have had close battles before. West Ham, the most recent winners, coming from 1-0 down to complete a comeback to win 2-1 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. In that case, Jared Bowen levelled for the Hammers and James Ward-Prowse got the winner in the 74th minute. But here comes Spurs. Brennan Johnson tried to slide his man in. Blocked off as West Ham clear it. Kudus trying to get West Ham forward. Does well. Battling to keep the ball. Kudus does incredibly well to keep the possession. And then just runs out of room eventually in the end, as the ball's nicked away from him. Romero coming on the attack for Spurs. Here's Son. Heung-min Son feeds it to Werner. Now Timo Werner steps in, looking for the shots. Looped, took a deflection. Spurs corner. Remember, Spurs come back to win. For the first time they've won on this ground since November of 2019 in a 3-2 win where Harry Kane got their third goal. They actually were leading 3-0 in that one before 2 late goals from West Ham, but it wasn't enough to salvage anything out of that one. Corner comes in, headed away by Zuma. Remember the absolute cracker between West Ham and Spurs here. But West Ham and Spurs a few years ago, West Ham were 3-0 down against Spurs and came back to win to draw 3-3. In recent memory, that's one of the more recent crazy games. The last draw between these two sides was on this ground. Spurs did score the first goal on that night, and West Ham levelled to Thomas Soucek on that occasion. That was back in August of 2022. They saw it a 1-1 draw here. Cross comes in. Headed away. Cleared away by Sofal. Spurs still threatening. Sarr that time that put the cross in. Made the threat. Porro to take this throw in for Spurs. Porro on the right. Brennan Johnson. Now back to Romero. All the way back to a doggy who has to go back to Vicario. Seems like Spurs have certainly had the firm grip of the game over the last 10 minutes or so. It's West Ham again, allowing Spurs to have the ball but threatening on the counter-attack. At the moment, West Ham can't get very much of the ball. Romero. Through the lines, finds Porro. Made that nice run. But again, good defending and switched on where West Ham at the back as Kudus tries to carry them away. And Brendan Johnson with a cynical catch of Mohamed Kudus gives away the free kick. And will get a yellow card for his troubles as well, Brendan Johnson. For that tactical foul on Mohamed Kudus. Free kick taken by Fabianski. Lovely ball out to Bowen on the right flank. Bowen up against a doggy. Bowen whips it in. Ward-Prowse was battling. Antonio's there too. Cleared away by Papsar. Sofal tries to get the ball in behind for Bowen, but Bowen was retreating. One on the same page there. And that goes out for a Spurs throw. Unlike the two to be not on the same page. West Ham not made a change yet. Spurs made 2. David Moyes happy with his side out there at the moment. They, of course, remember, didn't make a single outfield change from the weekend's defeat to Newcastle from Saturday afternoon. So, I'm sure they will be heavy legs, but they don't look like it. Here's Bowen battling on the right-hand side up against the doggy. He's closed in on by Antonio, and Bowen can only head it out for a goal kick. It's good work from a doggy to hold off the two men there. Well, that was Basuma. Again, see those shirts, 38 and 8. I keep mixing them up time and time again. It's because when they're turned a certain way, you can only see the last number. So at times when I say 8, I get mixed up between a doggy and Bissouma, the number that they have on their shirt. Nonetheless, it didn't really matter because it came to nothing, so it was only a goal kick to Spurs. West Ham still really look a threat on their counter-attack, and They have all night. They got their goal from a set piece, the Hammers. From a corner. Which Zuma latched onto. David Moyes not made any changes yet. Who knows? He's trying to figure things out with his assistant. There. And you've got bodies on the bench, West Ham. They do have options if they want to change things. The likes of Danny Ings and Maxwell Cornet. Calvin Phillips that can change things. But at the moment, the way things are going, they're playing fairly well. I think David Moyes wants to change this side and unsettle them. Johnson. Kulishevsky. Now Brennan Johnson again. Trying to get to the byline. Chips it across, but too close to Fabianski there. And the West Ham keeper unopposed into grabbing the ball there. Just rolls it down for Zuma. Through the lines, finds Antonio. Out to Kudus. Kudus tries to find Antonio down the line, but to his frustration, the ball just bounces out of play from Mikel Antonio there, and will run out for a Spurs throw as Spurs try and get themselves forward. West Ham on the press. Spurs will trying to play around that, and there's a foul in there. Kulishevsky, the man, went down, and Spurs will get the free kick. 12 minutes plus additional time to go. 1-1 here at the London Stadium. Who knows where the points will be going? Which way will the pendulum swing later on? Here's Porro. His ball was blocked off and it bounced back to Fabianski in the West Ham goal. And fair play to West Ham, to be honest. They're defending very controlled, very compact, very structured. Really nice from West Ham this evening. I've been very impressed with them defensively. Spurs a side who have bundles of quality that can really open up teams, and even the best defences struggle against Spurs and their attacking threats. But West Ham have done a wonderful job defensively so far, up to this point, against Tottenham, to hold them off and just hold them to just one goal and only 3 shots on target so far. Papsar, one of the Spurs substitutes, back to a doggy. Sar again. Now Bissouma to Son. Nice work as it's found its way out to Brennan Johnson now. The ball comes in field, trying to squeeze his way through. Son there, and Porro with a cross, and Sar and Werner were up at the far side, but they were one of them, whoever got closest, was offside, so the flag went up for offside against both of them, and West Ham will get the free kick. Yeah, Werner was offside there. Yeah, Timo Werner is offside, and yeah, he's the one that has the connection. And it does kind of skim the head of Papsar, who's behind him. So, good decision by the assistant there. We needed a replay to see who it came off, but the assistant was adamant it was Werner, and that Werner was in an offside position, and both decisions correct. Very good from the assistant there. So offside. 10 minutes to go. 1-1 at the London Stadium. Is there gonna be a late winner? And which way will it go? Will West Ham do the double over Spurs for only the 3rd time in the Premier League and the first time in 10 years? Or will Spurs get revenge for the reverse fixture and do what West Ham did to them and beat them on their own turf? We will see later on here, because this will come to a close and competitive ending as the last 81 minutes have been. Very competitive, very close between the two sides. And Emerson wins West Ham a throw-in. And Spurs are going to make another change in a moment. Richarlison's readying himself on the sidelines, so he'll be entering the fray very shortly. Alex Sleeby. They're going to make another change as well with that, and they're going to make those now, Spurs, as the ball's gone out for a West Ham throw. So the change is going to be made. Yves Bissouma is going to be coming off. He's going to be replaced by Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. So a straight swap in midfield for Spurs. And the second substitution, Timo Werner is going to make way, and he's going to be replaced by Richarlison. So another double substitution there from Ange Postecoglou. West Ham take that throw in. Kudus picks the ball up. Beaten to the ball in that challenge is Richarlison with his first touch. Plays it forward. Finds Kulusevski. He's on the run here, looking to find Son. Couldn't find either Son or Johnson. As Paquetá getting a bit wasteful. Gives the ball away in his own defensive third. Kulusevski. Absolutely telegraphed that pass. Well away from Heung-min Son. Did Dejan Kulusevski, and straight out for a West Ham throw. Just after Spurs had done all the hard work to win the ball back. High up in the air in the West Ham final third. They play an awful ball like that and gift the possession straight back to West Ham United. Free kick there for West Ham. Switch ball out to Emerson. Be interesting to see what way both managers react if this does end a draw. Who will be the happier? I'd say arguably probably David Moyes. But then again, he'll be happy if his side get even more than a point. He'd be loving it if they do get 3 points here against Spurs. Spurs will be desperate for 3 points themselves. Here's Antonio for West Ham on the attack. Antonio gets to the byline, chops it across. But that cut back straight into the hands of Vicario quite comfortably there for Spurs. They're caught in possession again. The man was taken out there, Kulusevski, and it'll be another free kick taken quickly. Højbjerg goes long. Trying to find Son, but again, cut out by Sofal. And then Bowen plays it back to his keeper, Fabianski, who goes long. Chested down by Kudus. Lovely control with his chest. And then blocked off that pass was Højbjerg, and West Ham will get the throw. Again, still very competitive. Both sides battling. It's a good fight. Here's Paquetá for West Ham. Back to Sofal. I think West Ham are readying a change as well. Looks like Danny Ings was getting himself ready on the sidelines. We'll see him fairly shortly. Here's Zuma. Emerson. Down the left flank. Taken into control by James Ward-Prowse. That's a lovely control by him. Antonio back to Zuma. Across to Mavropanos. Curled out to the right hand side, finds Paquetá. Bowen made the run as well. Here's Jared Bowen on the right flank. Body's in the box. Bowen takes on his man, tries to cross it. Blocked by Van de Ven. Will be a West Ham corner. Never know. They've already scored from a corner from the right hand side tonight. They'll have another one, and Bowen will take it again, as he did with the corner that was whipped in, on which Kurt Zouma found his header. Left-footed delivery, whipped in, and all the way through. Did take a connection, but it bounced all the way through and out to the other side for a goal kick. See it again. Whipped in, and lovely whip. Zouma was up for it, Mavropanos was up for it, but it came off Souček. And it headed behind at the back post there by Souček. It only headed off target. Brennan Johnson in that collision did come off the worst of the two players and hobbling a bit there, but he is back to his feet with no trouble. Danny Ings is ready on the sidelines, just not coming on just yet. Or they just have decided, you know what, we're not going to make that substitution anymore. Who knows? He's still waiting on the sidelines, Danny Ings. We will see what happens. But here comes Spurs. Son, down the left. Played it forward. Koss comes in from Højbjerg. Cries of handball. Sofal desperately disagrees. John Brooks just gave the corner. Does take a deflection off Sofal, but what part of his body we will see in a moment. Let's see the replay. Yeah, it just comes off Sofal's chest there. Yeah, just looks like it come off his chest. So it will only be a corner to Spurs. Porro to take. Left hand side, in swinging corner it will be. Whipped in. Away by Zuma. Got firm grip, a firm header on that one. So check with a follow-up header, cleared away, and then the shot from distance from Sarres. Pretty tame one, and well wide of the left post. Goal kick. Right, 2.5 minutes of the 90 to go. Is West Ham 1, Spurs 1. Spurs are reading another change themselves as well. They're with their 5th and final change tonight. So throw in the Spurs inside their own half. Porro got the ball back there and fired it long. But again, West Ham able to deal with it defensively. Try and get themselves up on the front foot here. Antonio, heavy touch, but there will be a free kick West Ham's way for a challenge just before that. And a yellow card will go the way of one of the Spurs players as West Ham take the free kick quickly. Here's Jared Bowen. Bowen. The follow-up from Kudus is also saved, and then he gets it again. The referee's not allowed them to take it quickly. They wanted to take that free kick quickly, West Ham, and the referee was just sorting out the yellow card, so he wasn't allowing them to take it quickly. So that whole move came to nothing. Didn't mean nothing anyway. That allows Spurs to make that substitution. Brennan Johnson's just come off the pitch, and he's been replaced by Giovanni Lo Celso. There, West Ham will take this free kick in a moment. John Brooks will now allow them to take it. Just figure out who's got the yellow card for Spurs, actually. Try and figure that one out for you. Just hasn't told us just yet. I didn't see who made the challenge. Antonio battling to win the ball, does well. Here's Paquetá under pressure. Lost out there. Paquetá battling to win it back and does win it and wins a throw in. It was Romero, actually, Christian Romero, that received that yellow card from referee John Brooks. As we surpass the 90 minutes, and we will have 4 added minutes at the end of this of the 90 minutes. So 4 more minutes to go for either of these two to find a possible winner. Souček, Ward-Prowse in behind, finds Emerson, hit the ball off the Spurs player Romero, and we'll get a corner, West Ham. And Romero absolutely frustrated as ever, smashing the floor with his hands. West Ham have a corner. Left hand side, Ward-Prowse, who scored or assisted in all of his last six appearances against Spurs. He's at his most ruthless when he's up against Spurs. Yet to directly involve himself in a goal tonight, but can he do it here from this set piece. Ward-Prowse, left-hand sided corner. Been in swinging corner. They're 9th of the game, West Ham. James Ward-Prowse to take. Right-footed delivery, deep into the box. Palmed away by Vicario nicely. Kudus picks it back up. Mohamed Kudus, left-footed cross in. Away by Sarr, and all the way back to Fabianski with the pass there from Sofa. Fabianski goes long out to the left and too high for Ward-Prowse. And that'll be a Spurs throw. Time for Spurs to maybe get a winner. Still 2 minutes to go. Don't forget, tomorrow night, more Premier League action for you. Manchester City against Aston Villa. Tomorrow we'll be live from 8 o'clock. Kick-off from the Etihad is at 8:15 tomorrow evening for you. Right, Romero through the lines, finds Richarlison. He had to hold off two and squared it back, played it back to Højbjerg. Son. Now Lo Celso. And now a doggy left hand side up against Mavropanos. A doggy trying to squeeze his way through and will get the throw in. Destiny a doggy. Takes it quickly. Sarr. Romero now. Now out to the right hand side. Finds Kulusevski. Plays it on to Porro. Pedro Porro. Back to Romero. Now Lo Celso on the right hand side. Spurs just trying to find any space to question West Ham. To threaten. Porro. Romero. Bodies in and around the box, but Spurs not able to find them at the moment. Kulusevski with a whip ball in. Lots of bodies in the box. The shots from the doggy straight at Fabianski. And that would have been that. If a doggy had found the net there, that would have been the winner. A doggy with a flash shot inside the 18-yard box and straight at Lukasz Fabianski. Was that the opportunity? Was that the chance? Into the last couple of seconds. Maybe one last attack to come. Kudus to get West Ham forward. Mohamed Kudus holding off the challenger. Kudus still going. Trying to go for the shot. Blocked. Headed away. Souček brings the challenge down. Chips it in behind. Jared Bowen's through here. Bowen across. Still alive. West Ham in the box. Can't squeeze it through. Kudus blocked off. A nice Spurs on the break instantly. This would be the last chance. Son. Wide to the left. Finds Kulusevski. Can't squeeze it forward. Now West Ham come the other way. Here we go again. Paquetá. Kudus there. Antonio finding his way in. Antonio cuts it back. Couldn't find Paquetá and blocked off. And what a dramatic ending. Because there's the final whistle. Both sides had chances to win it at the death. But neither could find the net. And it all ends all square in East London. Oh my goodness me. Wow. Take a breather. And a very well-deserved point. Probably the fair result of the game. Both sides threatening. Neither's able to find the net in the second half. Fairly even game on all fronts and attacking areas. And it shows in the result. West Ham 1. Spurs 1 in the end. Good game. Good result for West Ham and Spurs, really. Another point towards where they want to be. West Ham pushing for Europe again. Spurs pushing for a Champions League place. Both have another point to go towards their efforts. And a final score from the London Stadium. West Ham United 1. Tottenham Hotspur 1. Right, so that brings an end to another dramatic night of Premier League action to get us underway for match day 31. 5 games down, another 5 to come over the next 2 nights, and a fair good amount of results. The final scores from our 5 games tonight for you. Newcastle 1, Everton 1, Nottingham Forest 3, Fulham 1, Bournemouth 1, Crystal Palace 0, Burnley 1, Wolves 1, and West Ham United 1, Tottenham Hotspur 1. Well, let's have a look and see what that does to the table. We'll start at the top half, which affects both of these two sides that we've watched in action tonight, West Ham and Spurs. Liverpool still lead the way as they're in action on Thursday. Arsenal and Man City can both have the chance to go top tomorrow if they win their respective games. If Arsenal win their game, they will go top and no one can battle them other than Liverpool, who play on Thursday. Arsenal and City both in action tomorrow. City play Villa, who are in 4th. They would want to extend their lead on Spurs to 5 points with a win tomorrow at the Etihad. Spurs, of course, only a point tonight for them, 57, 2 behind Villa on the same number of games, and Man United a good 9 points behind Spurs, but with a game in hand over Tottenham. West Ham then come behind them on 30 after 31 games, 45 points. They've only 7 games to go, West Ham, in their season. 45 points they are on and pushing towards another European spots. Newcastle got a point in their endeavours as well earlier this evening on 44. Brighton, they play tomorrow, they're in 42. And Wolves, who got a point themselves on the road away at Burnley, are also on 42, and they make up the top half. Down to the bottom half then, as you can see there. Chelsea are in 12th. They drop a place after Bournemouth's win against Crystal Palace tonight. They go on to 41. Bournemouth, their 11th win of the season. Chelsea, who play on Thursday night at home to Manchester United, are in 12th on 40. Fulham, who lost tonight, couldn't recover from a 3-1 deficit like they did at the weekend. They ended up losing by 3-1 on the night. 39 points in 13th. Palace, who dropped a defeat, are 9 points back on that. They're on 30. Brentford, who play tomorrow night, they're on 27. Everton on 26 after their more crucial point away at Newcastle, after hanging in there and getting the point. They have a game in hand on the teams in and around them, so that's a huge point for them. A massive 3 points for Forest in their fight against relegation. 3 points above Luton, but Luton still to play, and they head to Arsenal tomorrow. Luton at the wrong end of that dotted line. Forest on 25 points. They've eradicated their 4-point deduction in the space of 2 games. A point at the weekends at home against Palace, and a win against Fulham at home this evening has their 4-point deduction eradicated inside 2 games. Luton on 22, and then Burnley on 19. They get a point tonight, which takes them a point closer to safety, but still 6 points adrift. And Sheffield United, who play on Thursday night, dropped 2 points at the weekend from a very good winning position. Stay at bottom of the league on 15 points. That is the way we stand after 5 games in the Premier League this midweek. 3 for you tomorrow, including Man City, Aston Villa. We'll have live commentary of, and we'll keep you up to date with those 2 other games in London tomorrow as well. And then Thursday night as well, 2 more games for you. But for tonight, it's honours even in London, and another closely fought London derby between West Ham and Tottenham. Have a good night. Night.